Thanks for tuning in to Men for the Win, a podcast hosted by David Kufis and Dan Thompson, two avid fans who appreciate well-played baseball, especially when it's done by the Twins. Men for the Win is sponsored by the Grand Group with Edina Realty. Are you looking to purchase a new home in the Twin Cities area? Or perhaps you're trying to sell your current home? Whether you're upsizing or downsizing, the Grand Group with Edina Realty will meet all of your housing needs. Contact the Grand Group by emailing thegran, that's G-R-A-N, group, at edinarealty.com, or call them by phone at 612-817-8751. The Grand Group with Edina Realty, 7-time Minneapolis-St. Paul Magazine Super Agent Award winners. Men for the Win is part of the Pulltab Sports Network, covering sports, culture, and entertainment across the Midwest. Check them out at pulltabsports.com and give them a follow on all your social media platforms at Pulltab Sports. On this episode, Dan and Hoges recap the Twins' 3-game series in Los Angeles against the Dodgers. Thanks for listening. Enjoy. Thanks for tuning in to Men for the Win. I am Dan Thompson. With me this time is Andrew Hoges Hoganson, filling in for David, who is sick. So, Hoges, so glad you can be here. We're actually going to get you 3 of the next 4 series here. You get a Dodgers series that had a lot of ups and downs and unfortunately ended with a big down.
Yeah, I think David just, after he saw Game 3 is when he texted us saying that he wanted me to come on and record this because he wasn't feeling well. But to be honest, he did it before. But, I mean, my goodness, after watching this game today, it just gets me all riled up. David is just getting sick all the time. I think one of these times, though, we need to have him on while he's sick and doesn't have a voice and just have him listen to us and just see who can get him redder. Because I think I'll win that one if we did that.
It's a little form of torture, I think, to just make him watch all of the things and he can't react. Do you have those dreams where you just can't speak?
Every night. Or you're trying to run away. Or I'm dunking a basketball. That's the other one. I can dunk a basketball probably once a week, and I'm 5'7", so I can't dunk a basketball. But man, that dream is so real every time.
So speaking of dreams, I had a bit of a dream week here. So I came down to Los Angeles. That's where actually I'm recording in a closet somewhere in the Los Angeles area. And I have 2 of my sons here with me, and we had a really great time going to these Dodgers games. We went to the games 2 and 3. I'll talk a bit more about them as we get into it, but I will say it's a beautiful spot to watch a baseball game. There are just wonderful sight lines. It's perfectly symmetrical, which is something that I didn't think I cared about as much, but the left field line and the right field line are the same. There's just something about symmetry, Hoges, here that's really beautiful.
It looks so gorgeous on TV too. Normally it doesn't always, when you're there in person, it doesn't always translate to what it looks like on the television broadcast. And Dodger Stadium just looks gorgeous. It's the Sierra Nevadas, right? That's in the background of the outfield.
Yeah, I think. We should probably know that here. I think. But
it's gorgeous. Beautiful. It's high. It's very, very high on my list. Not having to deal with the LA traffic that's not high on my list, but
we didn't have to. We've been taking little ride shares all over and things like
which
that.
Is so perfect.
That's been a lot of fun.
Another thing that's cool too, they've got. I know you'll get into this later, but ton of fans out for this whole series too, which that just makes it more enjoyable to even watch on TV when the crowd's into it that much.
Just a couple quick team notes before we get into this. So Bailey Ober is actually scheduled to pitch Friday for the Saints at AAA, which is kind of important because David Festa actually went on the injured list, and Travis Adams was called back up. So the Twins do have an off day on Thursday, so you got to think that maybe they can skip Festa maybe once through the rotation. Also, Anthony Misevich, who left Game 2 with a pectoral injury. They have not actually done anything with him, at least as of recording time here. So they do have another pitching spot that you got to think they're going to fill. And then Jair Camargo, one of David's favorites. He can't actually pronounce Camargo properly, so I guess it's good riddance. He's been optioned, and then Johnny Pareda got claimed off of waivers from the A's. What do you think of all these moves?
The catcher one was interesting to me. It made me wonder if maybe there is going to be some sort of a move with Vasquez coming up here, but I don't think that anything is imminent, but it was just something interesting to me that they were signing another catcher.
And we will get into our thoughts, I think, on how this team is being covered at a later segment, so we got to hold ourselves here. But I think with that, Hoges, let's get into the series recap.
Series recap.
Game 1, Hoges. The Twins lose this game 5-2, but this was a really good ball game, I thought. Close game, closer than it looked.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal ball game. You got just from the get-go, you got Shohei Ohtani on the mound, which is going to put butts in seats right away. I tuned in immediately. A great start to the game with Buxton homering off of Ohtani right away. It was such a good here we go. We're going to go toe-to-toe with this team. We're going to see what's going to happen. I was pumped. You don't get much better baseball than this game. I thought it was a phenomenal game.
Bottom of the first, Ohtani actually helps himself. It's kind of a predictable moment, it feels like, as a Twins fan, where Ohtani hits a 2-run home run to give himself a lead, so it's 2-1.
The amount of stats that they were showing after that home run, too, where like he has the best OPS in baseball against sliders, and he has the best OPS in baseball against, I mean, he's so unbelievably good. And then, just he gives up that home run, and then to come right back and get one himself was, I mean, it was cinema. It was great.
He only goes 3 innings, which is kind of how they're ramping him back up, which has been an issue for this Dodgers bullpen, which is going to come up a bit more in game 2. But top of the 4th, the Twins have a good sign. Lewis singles and then steals second.
I like dropped when I just like, I had my phone in my hands and I was like, what? Who ran? What?
Weirdest thing. Good on him. And Royce had a great series. We'll talk about him a lot. But it was very much a home run game here for the Dodgers. Bottom of the 4th, Will Smith hits a home run. That was also a trend. And then bottom of the 6th, Festa strikes out Ohtani, but then Smith homers again. It's 4-1. Freeman doubles. Festa is pulled. He finishes with 5 1/3, 4 hits, 4 earned runs, all on home runs, a walk and 5 Ks. As we said, he went on the injured list later. Bottom of the 7th, Andy Pages, which I even heard, this bothered me actually, that a bunch of Dodgers fans around me kept calling him Pages. And I wanted to turn and correct them and be like, guys, it's Pages.
With your Twins jersey on too.
Right,
right.
But I didn't dare cross the Dodgers. Like, game 2, we were sitting in the outfield section. We were the only Twins fans I could hear.
Yeah, didn't look like much on TV.
And there weren't that many. We would walk the concourses, and we would, like, we came to recognize the Twins fans who were there for games 2 and 3. Like,
that's fun. I like it when that happens. But yeah, we were not well represented out there. No, it did not appear.
Not at all. One more note on game 1 here. So the top of the ninth, the Twins get close. They load the bases, actually. And then Clemens hits a RBI sacrifice fly to left, so it's 5-2. And then Correa comes up and hits one to deep center. I don't know, Hoges. I've watched this replay a few times. James Outman reaches up. I don't know that I can call this a home run robbery. Did you think it was a robbery?
I was going to ask you the same question. I was very torn. It was like, I mean, it was a cool moment, right? Because that theoretically, if that gets out, that ties the game. I mean, they're right in it. I don't know. I don't feel good calling it a robbery. It makes it more cinematic to call it a robbery that, if he would have homered, they would have tied it up. But it was close.
I don't think that it was. We need a protractor. I think so we can really tell the angle.
Wait, what's that called? The circle thing with the line.
Circle thing with the line. So anyway, a great game. The Twins do lose that one, but you had the feeling they could actually go toe to toe. Then there's game 2.
It is funny. It is funny that you're there for game 2 and game 3, and you missed the Ohtani start. Like, obviously you'll have hopefully have other chances to see him again too. But it's just kind of ironic when I realized that you weren't going to be at that game.
I really wanted to see that. Now, Shohei Ohtani. Okay, one cool thing about Shohei before we get to the beginning of game 2, his walk-up music is Michael Bublé, Feeling Good, which, first of all, is not what I would have picked for him, but it is fantastic. I have long thought, and maybe people could check the receipts on this. I'm pretty sure that if we go back and there's an episode where we talked about our walk-up music, that's my pick. Nothing pumps you up in the morning like a little Michael Bublé, right?
Plouffe had a phenomenal quote today where when they walked him at the end of it. We'll get to that, but what Plouffe was like, man, I never thought I'd be as afraid of Michael Bublé as I am right now. And it was so good.
It is terrifying, and they love him. Okay, but I got to back up. So my boys and I like to get to games early, right? Because we wanted to see batting practice. There was a Teoscar Hernandez bobblehead, which we got 3 of wonderfully.
Hey, he was almost kind of a Twin for a while. They were talking about him.
He also didn't even play in game 2, which I think speaks to how Roberts manages versus how Baldelli manages.
Not quite not quite the Buxton bobblehead day that we all got to witness.
But so we're walking in, and I made my boys walk a bit. Like, we would take the lift ride like a half mile from the stadium because I didn't want to have to deal with kind of navigating.
Yeah.
So we show up and we see somebody walking kind of towards the stadium, and it's this woman wearing like a Brooks Lee City Connect jersey, and we think they can't have sold that many of those. Like, this is not like a hot item. So we go up, and then there's a gentleman with them, and there's kind of another woman, and we start to talk, and I kind of eased into it. I was like, oh, hey, Twins fans, great, right? Why Brooks Lee? Do you guys know Brooks? And they said, well, actually, I'm his dad. And I was starstruck right at this moment, because loyal listeners will know that we love the Lee family.
My back.
We have that. I even told him we have a sounder for his son. I talked about the podcast, And I thought, this is my moment. If there is a father of the podcast that we have spoken about, I mean, we just talked.
He's number one, that's for sure.
Right? We talked about Byron Buxton's dad. We've even talked about Cal Raleigh's dad. But if there's a father we have talked about, it is Larry Lee. It's Larry Lee.
And just recently too, right? Like I feel like it's the last couple months has been the biggest increase, or the last month I should say, about the biggest increase of you guys talking about him. When you sent that picture to David and me, I literally LOL'd. Like that was phenomenal.
So that was cool. We got a picture, and then I didn't want to badger him too much, so we kind of went to a different line, but then it was awkward because they're like at the next line. I really wanted to go talk to him, but it didn't. We waited like 15 minutes for the gates to open. Anyway, then we took in BP. So listeners, if you ever get to go to road games, it's actually the best experience for a fan, because then, first of all, your team is still taking BP. The home team is already taking them. So we got to go down, and there's not that many fans. I mean, I just told you there are about 12 in the whole stadium.
Yeah.
And so we went down, and my son got his glove signed by Louis Varland, which was cool. And then Louis didn't have a great game, but that was fun. And then game 2, we had another experience, which I'll get to, or game 3, we had another experience. Anyway, so we get to game 2. And I tell you, Hoges, I know that we read a lot of things online about how this was a poorly played game, but it really just felt like a stressful game. I don't know what it was like to watch, but it was a really stressful game to be at.
It was exciting to watch. Like, it was back and forth. I mean, the Dodgers bullpen has been going through it, right? I mean, There was a lot of walks in this game, but I don't know. Hearing all of that, like, it was just a terrible game to watch. Just both teams played crummy. I don't feel like that was necessarily that true. Like, the Twins put out all of their big relievers in this game. There was a lot of drama. I don't know. I was very disillusioned with the reporting of this game afterwards, because it was a great win against a good team.
So we sat in the front row right field, which was fun, but I couldn't hear another Twins fan from our seats. I could see a few maybe scattered about. Middle of the Twins lineup did a ton of damage actually in this game, but so did the Dodgers pitchers. This was like watching the Twins throw baseballs towards first base and home. It was actually really interesting.
Oh man.
But yeah, top of the second, the Twins get 3 runs, one on a Lewis fielder's choice that traveled 5 feet, and then 2 more on a double by Christian Vasquez. We're thinking, what are we watching?
Fire. And he rocketed that ball too.
It was
like, that was not a weak one.
We maybe though saw the least efficient SWR start, and we're going to talk more about him later. He only records 9 outs. He throws 58 pitches, only 28 strikes, walks 5 guys. Bottom of the 4th, he actually walked Will Smith and Freddie Freeman, and then Pages clobbered a home run to tie the game at 3. And so we're thinking, oh gosh. And then, as you mentioned, everybody in the bullpen got in on this game. But at the top of the 6th, the Twins get 3 more runs, a bases-loaded walk to Lewis, then a Bader RBI groundout, and then a Vasquez RBI single. So all of a sudden it's 6-3, and then I don't know. I mean, I felt okay, but then I was like, but the Dodgers.
I mean, that lineup is scary, right? Like, no matter what, that lineup is just scary.
Bottom of the 6th, Varland gives 2 runs back on a 2-run, 2-out single by Hosong Kim, so it's 6-3. And then again, Royce Lewis comes up with the bases loaded. I didn't measure it, but I saw the measuring. He hit a ball that traveled 2 feet, and it was a chopper. And Dodgers relief pitcher Edgardo Henriquez, whose name is being cursed by the people around me, like the moment he comes in, he fields it and he threw it to me, like in the right field corner. Like, Freddie Freeman couldn't have. I mean, if you copied Freddie Freeman and made a wall of 3 Freddie Freemans, like, he wasn't gonna get to this.
I love the box score entry for that. Like, you read it, you're like, Correa scored, France scored on throwing error by pitcher Henriquez, and Wallner scored on air. Lewis safe at first on fielding error by pitcher Henriquez. Lewis safe at third on air. Like, it's just like, wait, what?
How did it go this far? So yes, he actually ends up with a funny line. He's 0 for 4 with 3 RBI.
It was such a weird game to watch. I picked him in Puckett's picks, and so I'm excited, but it's the weirdest box score ever. And you're like, he got points, right? Like, he's getting points. What's happening right now?
Phil Miller pointed this out in his Star Tribune article. He's the 3rd Twin ever to go hitless with 3 RBI, joining Nick Punto in 2006 and David Ortiz in 2000, which I assume were on sac flies. I would think that's what David Ortiz was doing.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like he deserved more points than he got.
I
for
agree.
This performance,
okay, all right.
Right?
Well,
like,
this is going to be... The Puckett's pick segment's going to be really fun because we have quibbles over our own scoring mechanisms, I think. Anyway, we got to run through the rest of this game. But in the bottom of the 7th and 8th, it gets fascinating. So Jax and Duran come in. Now, Jax is fine in the 7th, but Duran has to come in the 8th when Misevich tries to get some outs here, but he can't. There was a review, and it was during the review of a pickoff play at first that Misevich hurt himself throwing warm-up pitches or something. I don't know exactly about it, but this was funny. So we see Harrison Bader just gun it from left field all the way across to the Twins bullpen. We're like, what is Harrison Bader doing? Is he getting ready to pitch? And my son's like, Dad, he's still not back. And they're Duran's already come out, he's throwing some warm pitches. So Bader emerges and he's buckling his pants. And we can see that Buxton and Kersey Jr. are laughing at their little meeting there. They're holding his glove for him. And I think he had a potty break during the pitching change.
That's some of the stuff from just being at the game that you just don't get great? When you're watching on TV. It's just great.
Anyway, so the Twins do hang on here. It is pretty fun actually because Ohtani hit a home run in the bottom of the ninth, and it was 10-5 when he hit it. So it was 10-7. It was cool to see him hit a home run. He crushes baseballs. It was an opposite field. I think it was 400 and something feet. That man can hit baseballs. And so it was really fun to see him play.
Oh, yeah, it's insane. I mean, even that game one that he hit to dead center, too. It's just such a smooth swing, and you know right away that it's gone. It's fun watching him play baseball. It's something that we might not ever see again the rest of our lives.
So then there's game 3. And the Twins lose this one 4-3. We have a lot of...
Loses heavily in quotation marks
it should
on this game.
So the final score is 4-3.
There we
Dodgers
go. I like that better.
Ohtani hits a home run on a fly ball to center in the bottom of the first. It's 110 miles off the bat. 110 miles an hour off the bat. It's 441 feet. It's a monster shot.
Just crushed. Just absolutely walloped.
Well, and you think, okay, Chris Paddock, oh man, he's in for it. Paddock, though, we're going to talk about him a little bit later, so I'm not going to get to it too much. He goes 6 innings. In the meantime, Royce Lewis homered on a ball to left field into the Dodgers bullpen. And then that's really all the scoring we get.
Did the Royce one look out to you? Because I don't know if it was just how it was shown on TV or whatever. And even with the left fielder running out, it didn't look like it was out right away. And then it looked like it landed 30 feet in. And the whole time, you might have a chance, you might have a chance. And then it's that was gone by a lot. It was kind of weird out the TV.
Yeah,
angle.
We were sitting third deck, and you could tell from the trajectory, because we were kind of behind home plate to the left, that it was going to go. So that was exciting. And then it was very quiet for a while, which was kind of merciful.
And fast.
Game 2 was super
really
long.
fast,
yes,
too.
Yes. So we get to the 7th. This is where the Dodgers really start to put together just a lot of opportunities. Now, they only cash in 1 run in the bottom of the 7th, and so they do take a lead. But then the Twins are able to get a couple runs in the 8th, but it's mostly due to the ineptitude of the Dodgers pitchers. It's walks that really get them into trouble. Does this bother you? So the Twins had a double steal. They actually had they had 3 stolen bases in this inning here, and then
stole third base for the first time this year too in that inning. That was the first stolen. That was the first stolen. The double steal was the first stolen third base this entire year, which
was
just
beautiful.
crazy.
And then it didn't matter because then they walked the next batter anyway. That bugs me.
Well, I'm taking notes on this, and I'm like, oh, this is a big moment right here. I want to write this down. This double steal is going to matter. This could be the Minnesota moment. And then 2 pitches later, it's a walk, and you're like, well, all right. There's
so
that.
Frustrating.
It happened with the Freeman one too when he got on first.
Yes.
It was oh, this is a big moment here, and then the next play nullified it. And you're like, oh, right.
So in any case, the Twins get 2 runs in that inning, which we will talk about later, and then the Dodgers end up winning it in the 9th. We're going to come back to that a little bit later. And so I think with that, we can probably move forward here. But Hoges, first, I just got to ask, are you a boat guy?
I'm a boat guy. That's how I spend my summers.
Well, okay. So after a slow start to summer here in Minnesota, the sun is finally out, and we have the perfect new sponsor to celebrate. Rave Sports is your one-stop shop for all things water sports. They've been around since 1997. They're based here in Eagan, and they have all the toys you and your lake life need. So give your pontoon the water patio it always wanted with an AquaDock. Take your kids on a thrill ride with a new Hypertube, or just chill out with an inflatable paddleboard. It's all at Rave, and don't forget to use promo code PULLTAB for 20% off your order. Whether you're a lake person or a river person, make it the best summer ever and visit ravesports.com. Rave Sports, make waves.
Catch 'em all, Kirby Puckett! Puckett's Picks winner.
Hoges, I'm going to let you take the lead here on this one here. This is a great reason for celebration for you.
Oh, this was fantastic. And I had a pretty good feeling coming in that I was going to be looking pretty good. So when David texted and asked if I wanted to record, I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll do a little bit of gloating. So I actually won with Royce Lewis with 17 points. Again, I think it probably could have been a little bit more. He sort of had a bases clearing triple that we're not giving him credit for right here. The listeners took Buxton. He came in second with 4 points, which it's a little interesting interesting right now. Buxton has been falling off a little bit. I mean, he's still putting up numbers, but not at what they used to be. David took Correa and had 3 points. You took Willie Castro and somehow ended up with maybe the worst score we've seen all year.
Okay, so we have changed the rule this year where you get not -1, but -2 points for grounding into a double play. So in that inning where the Twins scored some runs in game 3, he grounded into a double play where he actually brought a run in. So a couple things bother me here. Baseball, thinks that's not an RBI, which is a quibble that I have separate from what we have with Puckets
I
Picks.
would agree with your quibble, though.
Right, okay. So I think that I should get a point here for the RBI here because he batted a runner scored because of what Willie Castro did with his bat.
Yeah.
So
okay. Yes. Full agreement. I get the 3 points for Royce Lewis then.
Right. Well, hang on there. That's a different play.
No, it's the same
That's a very
thing.
different play. It was an error.
The runner scored because of
this
what
was not an error.
If he didn't put the ball in play, that's never happening.
That's an interesting way around the rule. I like my way around the rule better.
I like your way too, with a little bit of an add-on.
Well, it's like when you're in the car and you have a route you want to go, and maybe your wife or your children have a route you want to go, and they're kind of the same.
I'm not a witch, I'm your wife.
But you feel like your route is better. Like that's
yeah,
where
but
I'm
do
at
your
here.
wife's and your children's ideas only have 1 out and yours has 2? Because then there's probably his better.
It might be.
All girls are like onions.
Anyway, I guess I have to live with
I
my
do hate that
-7.
though, right? Because if there's no one on first and if there's just a guy on third and that exact same play happens, it's an RBI, even if he gets out. It is a weird quirk to the rule. But I don't know if you could tell in person, Castro didn't really leg it out on that grounder either. And I don't know if he's broken or what, but
I'll tell you the truth. I'm a little confused by your tactics.
He's just not a hustler. Anyway,
that Skeens Ryan game when Larnach hit the home run right after and he was still sitting at home plate when Buxton got slid in. I've never seen I can't remember if it was the second baseman or the shortstop more confused as to why there wasn't already a guy on first. Like he literally needed the other guy to be like, hey, and he's like, what? Why should I? Oh my gosh, he's not there.
All right, we should move forward here to Beast versus Bench.
Beast versus Bench.
Is losing fun? Is losing fun?
Actually, Hoges, I robbed you of the opportunity. We should just say quickly where you're at in Puckets Picks.
Yeah,
so
I
you
just
have
got
the
17 points added on plus the bonus, and we're going to take that away from
I
you.
know. So you have 13.5. I have 10, and then the listeners and David each have 7.5. Okay, so looking at Beast versus Bench, I have to go with Royce Lewis. A monster game, even though he hit the baseball like 12 feet total in game 2. But he's looking like himself. He's still batting 8th. I think that's going to change. But after the series that he had, it is encouraging to me the trajectory of this team when Royce Lewis is playing like this.
They talked about it on the broadcast too. Like Provis asked Plouffe, do you think you just keep him at 8th for a while or do you move him up? And Plouffe was like, part of it is the guy he's comfortable with where he's at. Don't mess with anything for a while. But he's like, in a perfect world, he's batting at the top of this order or in the top half for sure. And I think that does happen eventually. It's cliche to the absolute max. He looks like Royce again.
Mm-hmm.
Like he looks like he's got that swagger and that confidence. It's a small sample size with him playing better again, but I don't know.
He's the one.
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid a
I know
little
we are.
bit. It's
We got
just
a
like
big
a little
jug of
shot
Kool-Aid
of
here
it, but
for
I'm
both of
drinking
us.
a little bit of it.
Oh my gosh. No, but who'd you put on as your Beast?
I will admit, I did this almost immediately after game 3, and I was feeling a type of way. I was telling you were going to have the dump button really at your ready when we were recording, but I gave it to Shohei. And I'm mostly doing this just to annoy David. He's hit a home run in 5 straight games. Yeah. And watching him, I mean, it was clear that he was the best baseball player on the field throughout this entire series. I think Royce is a great deserving player for the Twins, but just given that guy his accolades, it's easier to say it's fun to watch when it's a 162 game season and it's less important than every single game, but it was fun watching him in this series. It really was.
How can you not be romantic about baseball?
They love Shohei. I was clapping when he would come up to bat. I mean, it's just that infectious.
He's the most boring person on earth, it seems like, too. And yet he's a superstar, which I think it makes it kind of more fun, too. And it's like Scotty Scheffler in golf a little bit. Could you have less personality? I don't think so. But somehow it's like there's some gravitas to it.
Well, I was walking out with my boys after game 3, and it was like, we probably just watched 4 future Hall of Famers play.
Yeah.
Or 3 of them. We didn't see Kershaw.
Buxton.
But, yeah, well, of course. Yes. What are we thinking here? But Freddie Freeman will be. Shohei will be. You got to think Mookie Betts has a chance too.
Oh, well,
you know,
so I mean, I know Kershaw didn't play. Yeah, but yeah, it's crazy.
They showed like the whole video back. There was a great pre-produced video about his 3,000th strikeout, and like I was crying by the end of it and how beautiful it was. So it would have been cool to see him pitch too. But
I can't remember if you guys talked about it or not. But just as an aside, Kershaw during the All-Star game being mic'd up was one of the greatest baseball things ever. It was so funny. If you haven't had a chance, look it up. It was really good.
That is a good time for miking guys up is during the All-Star game.
Yes, or in spring training. Not during the games.
Bench for me has got to be SWR. He had such a bad starting game too. Now his team bailed him out, but to only throw 28 strikes and 58 pitches, he was not ready for the moment. He got hit a lot. You could question whether he even should have, faced Pages in the end of in the fourth inning there. But that was not great, especially with the Festa news. They're going to need him to be better. He wasn't this game, and I think it's as simple as that for me.
Well, and it bit them today a little bit too with just some of the bullpen decisions that
because then Duran wasn't available, to maybe come in there.
Which we'll talk about that later too, but I don't know if that was necessarily a bad decision to use him yesterday. So yeah, I agree. I think that's a good bench. I went with a much more obvious one, I would say, in my opinion, that actually cost the Twins this series victory and our moods being a lot better right now. I went with the first base umpire in Game 3, who did not call. I could have gone with the home plate umpire, honestly, who did not call that a swing on Mookie Betts with 2 straight. It was a 1-2 count, nobody on, 2 outs, bottom of the 9th. That was it. Would have been the game. I don't know how much farther that his bat could have gone around without it like hitting him in the back. Like the replay is so clear. He's farther than a bunt. Like you talk about what that rule is dumb regardless, right? Because there's no real defined, your wrist break or it breaks the plane of the first.
Right.
It was pointed towards the pitcher. Like if that's not going, I don't know what is. Talking Baseball has a hilarious clip that they have out on Twitter right now about the Dodgers broadcast talking about it. And they're like, wow, great hold there. Look at that strength on him to hold up. And the comments are so funny because everyone's just like, no. Well, I can't believe Rocco didn't get tossed.
And I don't think he even really came out.
There wasn't much. Like Jeffers had a moment and Jax kind of did too, but it was pretty quick. And then you just move on. And I hate the whole, you still got to close the game out. The umpires are part of the game. That was the game. It was over. Like there was nothing else that needed to happen. And that was crystal clear. That call is very easy when you're standing down the first base line. You have one job. That is your only job to look at that. And it was blatant. I get that sometimes that's a little iffy and gray. That wasn't gray. That was black and white. Cost the Twins the game, cost them the series. All these games matter a lot because there's a big day coming up in 7 days here now that determine.
Is there a trade deadline coming up, folks? I've never read anything about it.
Oh
you
my
wouldn't even
gosh.
know. All right, let's keep going here because we got a lot more to add to this in Rocco's Rewind.
Rocco's Rewind.
I'll just dispense of mine quickly. So Game 2, I thought that Rocco, he handled the bullpen about as well as he could given the fact that SWR gave him only 3 innings. I thought he was wise to have Duran ready in the 8th. This is one of those times where it's like, you put Misevich out, but you don't expect him to finish the inning or you at least have a plan. The fact that Duran was able to come in and then get 6 outs in that game was the difference to me. I don't trust anybody with a 4-run lead on the Dodgers, so I loved how he managed that. I would not have him do it any other way, even as we get into Game 3, which you're going to talk about.
Yeah, and I think you got to do that right there too, right? You don't get a chance to beat a team like that on the road that often. No. You take it when you can get it, and it's frustrating, but I think you pointed out that the bad part about that game was SWR. So my stuff for Rocco is basically everything in Game 3. It was just brutal. I think it was either David or you sent a text like, Rocco's made the more decisions in this game than he's ever made in his entire career. Taking Paddock out, only 78 pitches. He had 8 Ks. He was looking really good. He settled down after that Shohei home run. I don't know. That didn't make any sense. Leaving Stewart in for another inning, and as you pointed out, being at the game, there was no one even warming up until the bases got juiced. It didn't end up costing them a ton, but that was interesting. And then you don't have Duran available for the 9th, but you have other guys that are out there. It was just, I don't know, you're burning through your big guys very early who haven't looked 100% great lately. Jack's just, I don't know, maybe this is just the David part of me from like ripping him for like weird stuff that happens to him. He's not a great closer. Like it just doesn't seem like the 9th is his inning. I don't know. That's who I would have put out there too. But I think he left a lot of question marks. Even walking Shohei was an interesting one. Yep. You're putting the winning run on base. I don't know if that's a bad call, but it cost them the game ultimately.
Well, I think the fact that going to try to get to Esteury Ruiz, who is a rookie who hasn't, I think he hit his first home run of his career earlier this week.
That was also his first walk of the year this year, right?
But it's just like you can't. But then, okay, but Griffin Jacks, why are you throwing 3 balls to him? It's just like I would have much rather. I know
the 3-0 was a sweeper.
So take your
Right
chances with Shohei. I really think because we watch Shohei a lot. Obviously, Shohei can get home runs. He also struck out like 4 times in game 2 and 3, so it's possible here you can get him out. It's easy with hindsight to say all that, but I think I would have done that. It's also easy to say, Harrison Bader, take a couple steps in, because then maybe you can catch Freddie Freeman's liner. Though from our vantage point, it looked like that was going to drop kind of from the get-go.
Well, so I have a question about that for you, actually. The whole broadcast, especially today, every ball hit, Dodgers fans made it sound like it was a double.
Oh, they do. So every time the ball is hit towards the outfield.
Okay, thank you, because it sounded bizarre on the broadcast. The whole game, I was just like, oh, that's in the gap. No, it's right at Buxton. Like, what's going on here?
I think
so
that they
played.
I think they just love those guys so much, and they've had so many big moments out of Freeman, out of Hernandez, Will Smith.
The level of roar that increased just whenever the ball would be in play. So that play, it went up right away, and I was like, oh, I bet Bader's got it. And then it fell. I don't want to fault him. He's a Gold Glover out there this year, right? But it looked like he should have had it. And saying should have had it is like because of his level. I'm not saying like compared to an average outfielder should he have had it. I think Bader probably is kicking himself a little bit that's a ball that he'd like to make a play on. It would have been a great catch, but I think he had an opportunity, and it was just a bummer to see it squeak out.
Well, there were some positives, even though the game ended so poorly. Let's go to the Minnesota moment.
Minnesota moment.
I went with the quick one right off the bat. It was just, you're playing the Dodgers, you're already excited. Buxton hitting that homer in the first, I think it was off of the second pitch. Another leadoff homer, still crushing it after the home run derby. It was really fun. It was one of those like get you out of your seat and fist pump, like, all right, let's take it to this team. I thought that was a really fun moment.
Yeah, I went with game 2. The Lewis 3-run 2-foot fielder's choice was just so fun. It was such a Twins play that the Dodgers made, which was one of the frustrating things about this series is, in a weird way, the Twins played better than the Dodgers. I mean,
unquestionably, yeah, for sure.
But I wouldn't say the Twins are the better team. But I think that on this series, they played better.
Yeah,
they needed one more.
It makes
hit
no
in game
sense.
3. It doesn't make sense, but yet that's kind of how it felt. So that was the most exciting moment of the series, because you saw the Dodgers' ineptitude at the things that we have seen the Twins struggle with, like just underhanding a ball to first base, so that was exciting.
I just don't know how it can get any better.
Mauer's musings.
So my question kind of dictates what your question is here. What are your thoughts on this team next year? If they make no moves at the trade deadline, say there's just a few, I mean, obviously they have some expiring contracts. There's going to be some stuff moving around. Some guys will get called up, but ultimately staying the same, not a huge influx of talent. How do you feel about that team in 2026?
I kind of like it. I like next year's team as it is currently constructed. Just advance. I mean, they've had some bad luck here with injuries. Pablo going down, Bailey Ober going down. I think Correa has shown some signs here lately. He's playing better. Royce not playing well and being hurt. And I know that Royce gets hurt sometimes, but the fact that you can see some flashes here of what they could be. I also don't see a ton of prospects coming up. Like, this is kind of the team. I mean, unless you want to talk about Austin Martin, Eddie Julian, Luke Keishel, and who should be back shortly. Yeah. Maybe even Wally Jenkins. There's probably space for those guys. So it kind of hurts my heart to think that they would be trading away guys who would be core to that. I can see the Baders and the Castros and the Vasquezes. I'm sure I'm missing guys here, right, who would be free agents. France, Coulomb maybe. So I get it, but I don't know. What do you think? I mean, I think it's a good team next year. I
think you said that perfectly. I think this team can compete next year. And frankly, in baseball, that's all you need. And yeah, I think that dictates a lot of how I feel about what your question is. But I am good with this team going forward.
Okay, and maybe my question comes because I think we both read The Athletic a lot, and Dan Hayes and Aaron Gleeman, and we respect a lot of the things that they do, but I am so frustrated by I'm just going to say it's mostly Dan Hayes right now. everything that he writes right now, and I don't even think that's really an exaggeration. So my question is, since when did the trade deadline become the only narrative in sports, in baseball, and specifically around this team? Because this is maddening to read things like, well, Danny Coulomb had a great audition there, getting a couple outs. Like, what? Can you not say, yeah, you just had a great, like, keep the scope to this game here just every once in a while, guys.
Yeah, it's every tweet, every single article. Like, I was so frustrated after game 1 because I thought it was such like an exciting, well-played game. Argue about whether or not that was a robbery at the end, but could have sent it into extras. Like, whatever. The Twins played great. Buxton hit a home run. Ohtani hit a home run. And then all you're reading about is, like you said, Coulomb had a great addition. Like, Paddock's making a good impression on all the scouts that are... It frustrates me to no end. You're talking about this team as if they're 20 games under 500.
Right.
They're a good win streak away from being right back in the wild card. And then they have Pablo coming back, and if Royce is playing well, I'm not even saying that I would put my money on them making the playoffs because I think that would be foolish right now. But they're not a bad baseball team. They're not a great baseball team. They're somewhere in the middle and they're figuring it out. Why can't we just enjoy that? And saying that they should trade guys that are under team control until 2027, who are you gonna get? Like, you trade John Duran, best case scenario, you get someone worse than him. Like, it's just unbelievable to me that people think that you can get value for a guy that is maybe the best reliever in baseball that we're paying like $1.1 million. And don't even get me started on Joe Ryan being mentioned in trade talks. He's wrapped up until 2027. He is an A-list starter. You guys talking about he might be an ace right now? We're paying him nothing. So you'd have to get an entire team's farm system, and even then I would say no. Like, that narrative has to stop. They get so excited about it. I think they would be the happiest people in the world if they woke up and said, Buxton waived his no trade and Ryan, and like, I hate that. I don't like
Fans
just
want an ejection. There it goes.
right.
That
It's
was
good you played it.
Gardy's gripe.
I wouldn't
That's
have
enough.
stopped. I wouldn't
that
have
one
stopped.
was brought to you by The Athletic, I believe. We had the Pohlads last episode. Now this is from The Athletic. We are both subscribers.
I was
but
just
my
heating
goodness,
up.
It's so, the negativity is so bothersome. And this is what's interesting. And I've tooted Phil Miller's horn before at the Star Tribune. But if you haven't gotten a chance to read his game story from Game 2, it is fantastic writing. He doesn't mention the trade deadline for quite some time in that. He's focused on the baseball. This is still a competitive baseball team. It could still be a competitive baseball team. And it's frustrating that for all the reasons you said, you're not going to get great return for these guys. Or if you do, it's going to be after the years that we think that they could still compete. It's just super frustrating the way they're doing that. I'm also a little worked up about anything about Joe Ryan because we went to Game 3 today. And before the game, we got a ball. Trevor Larnach tossed it to my boys in the front row. They were one of the 5 Twins fans there. And then Joe Ryan came over and signed it. So we've got this signed baseball from Joe Ryan.
How can you not be romantic about baseball?
So they can never trade him, right? He now has a spot in my memory bank here. It's, in Inside Out where the ball rolls down, right? I've got one of those happy moments, right? That's what I have now. I don't want the blue sadness to kind of like taint that memory. It's getting angry now.
One.
It's becoming a very complicated memory right now for me.
Your boys have got some good merch. Varland and Ryan. Like, you're gonna have to name your next cat Ryan, I feel like, or something like that.
I told a lot of people about my cat on this trip too. Total strangers. Anyway.
You have to.
All right. Well, we should move on here. We've got another segment here. Let's go to it.
Series grades.
It's tradition for the other person besides me to go first here. So go ahead.
I give them a B because I think that's the dumbest way of saying it. I give them a B because I think they won today, and if they would have won today, I would have given them an A, and it felt bad going any lower than that. I know the baseball wasn't that beautiful. The Twins have won, and granted, this is an NL team. They've won like 7 times in Dodger Stadium since 1965.
No, it's only 3. Is
that all it is?
Ever in Dodger Stadium.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane. So I thought they played pretty well. And if they win this game today, 2 out of 3 against that team, I know they're struggling, but they're still the Dodgers. I'm not sad about that performance going forward.
You mentioned that 3 wins there. This is also from Phil Miller, a reporter who does his work. The 10 runs the Twins scored in Game 2 was the most they've ever scored against the Dodgers. And that goes back to the World Series and such. So this grade may feel weird. Momentum, -1, because even though They should have won game 3, and they kind of did. They actually lost it on paper. And so then that was a really part. Well, because the trade deadline stuff is real too. I get that as well. Decision making. Rocco had some great decisions in game 2 and then totally undid them in game 3. So I gave him a 0 there. The Stars, I gave a +1 because I thought Buxton played well. Correa, who got booed, Hoges, like I have never heard Correa get booed. And
you can hear it on the broadcast, too.
Well, and if any fan base has a reason to boo him, it's the Dodgers, for goodness sake. 2017 was the World Series. They played the Astros. So I totally get it. I was, like, apologizing for my fandom. People, I had no way to stand behind him. No. And yet he had a great series. I mean, especially in game 2, he got on base. He scored like 3 or 4 times. Mids +1. Youth, though, -2. Festa was okay, but not great. Estiover was bad. Kersey Jr., who got totally taunted by the Dude Bros in right field. He even actually tossed him a baseball actually after that, which kind of made me like Kersey Jr. a little bit less. Yeah. That he kind of acquiesced to the Dude Bros. Yeah. So and then he's got this weird stance. You know how you notice a fault in someone and then you don't like them and then you keep noticing more? Like that's kind of how I feel about
the glass broke.
It totally broke. So anyway, so that's all adds up to a 14 out of 25, Hoges, which is an F, but I don't feel like they deserve an F, but I think this was actually a really important series, and to only win 1 out of 3 was costly.
You go on this awesome baseball trip with your boys, and you're giving the trip an F. I mean, it just, I don't know.
Well, the trip itself gets an A, but the baseball part of it, I think, F does feel harsh. Sometimes.
Yeah, but I can't even argue with you, though, either. Like, I think A through F is an acceptable grade to give this series. Speaking of being able to just get anything you want wherever you want it, with summer here, it's prime grilling season, a time to gather the neighbors for a good old backyard barbecue. Lucky for you, Cub Foods is your one-stop shop for all of your grocery needs. With everyday fresh products and a wide selection, you'll be in great shape to host the next grill-out with all your backyard essentials. Grab your fresh produce, deli, meats, party trays, and bakery all in one stop. With over 100 locations in Minnesota, check out your local Cub on your next shopping trip for all your summertime essentials.
I don't know, Jack. It looked like Herbeck pulled him off the bag. Herbie's headlines.
Hoges, I really think we just need to mention this one thing here. So Rich Hill, who has played for 14 teams now, this is a great opportunity for this.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
45 years old, becomes the oldest active player. He started a game for the Royals versus the Cubs. He gave him 5 solid innings, Hoges. What do you make of this news about Rich Hill coming back to the majors?
I love that you had this on here because this is probably the section that we talk about the most throughout the week with the 3 of us just throwing out ideas for this section. We didn't talk about it at all. And when I looked in the notes, I'm like, yep, that's the one. That's it. That's what I want to talk about. I think it's sweet. It's awesome. He's a journeyman. It's good to see Dick Mountain out there doing great things again.
Love that guy. So Rich Hill, if you're a listener, well, you might be. I don't know. You're older than the podcast.
He was a
certainly.
twin.
He was a twin at one point.
He got some ties.
Oh man. So that's pretty cool. We do love seeing guys who are older than us doing things that we wish we could do. So
I mean, he's like 12 years older than me.
Oh,
so
well, we don't need to rub it in here, Hoges. I think the age difference here. All right, let's move forward. We got a pick series for the National Series.
And we'll see you tomorrow night. Puckett's Picks.
So the listeners here, and truth be told, this is my boys who just watched the Twins play a couple games. They're actually going to go with Royce Lewis with this. I am picking next. You could argue there was some arm. Anyway, we don't want to get into the shenanigans that could have been here. But I'm going to go with Buxton because I finally get to pick him. I haven't picked him in a long, long, long time. David is going to go ahead and pick the guy that he picks when he's cornered, or just every time. It feels like Carlos Correa. He's going to pick, which leaves you, Hoges, with everybody else.
I hate picking last. Frankly, I think I'm on the side of your sons too, for the record. I think picking Lewis, it might actually be the time. It just feels like this is the start of a heater. I don't think that's a bad pick. I will cry shenanigans, though, if Buxton just blows everyone out of the water.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. I'm going to go Christian Vasquez. Like,
really?
He's hitting.
Choice.
He's only going to play in 1 or 2 games, but he's going to go 3
No,
for
he might
4
play
with
in
3
more
singles.
because Ryan Jeffers' wife could pop anytime.
I'm not a witch, I'm your wife.
Great. Didn't even think about that. Feel a lot better about it. Thank you. That's where I'm going.
All right. Well, we will have David back, I think, for the next episode. But then, Hoges, it's you and me getting our annual trade deadline podcasts in as David
that we love
playing
so
board
much.
So This is all part
Hopefully
of
we have
David's
nothing Twins related to talk about for that one. Nothing
hope.
at all. Let's have some
All right.
crazy other ones the rest of MLB. Those are fun to talk about.
Well, Hoges, how about you go ahead and send us out?
Well, folks, if you like what you hear, please tell a friend. You can follow us on X at Min for the Win and find our Min for the Win Facebook and Instagram pages. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform so you're notified when new episodes are available. And if you could leave us a rating or a like, we'd greatly appreciate it. If you'd like to support the show further, you can find us on Patreon. Link in the description. Thanks for listening, and as always, go Twins.
That'll wrap up another episode of Min for the Win, a podcast hosted by David Kufis and Dan Thompson, two avid fans who appreciate well-played baseball, especially when it's done by the Twins. Thanks so much for listening, and as always, go Twins.